Hi guys, welcome to this week's video. This week's video. Hi guys, welcome to this week's video. This video is going to focus on Photopass and its role in the college program. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the phone interview, what the training process is like, what an everyday day at work looks like, and some pros and cons of the job. So in my phone interview, it is important to know that you do not need a background in photography to be considered for Photopass. I've had a lot of people tell me that they wish that they knew this when they applied for the college program, and honestly, Disney can teach you everything that you need to know about the pictures that they want you to take and how to work the camera, so you don't need to worry about that a lot. In my phone interview, I really just talked about how my internship in Australia really allowed me to explore photography and how I developed a new interest in it, but I definitely made it clear that it was just like a new interest and it was not something that I was super experienced in. That's all I'm really going to say about my phone interview, just because chances are if you're watching this video, you've already been accepted for Photopass, and if you guys want me to make a more detailed video on my phone interview and acceptance process, I'd be happy to do that. So once you arrive to Disney for Photopass, you are going to be going through a pretty long training process. Most roles only go through a few days or a week of training, and you will be earning your ears for 30 days. They definitely split your training up into several different categories and segments so that you don't get overwhelmed. So when you first get there, you are going to go through a day 1 and 2 training, and that is going to be in a classroom where you really learn about Photopass as a role, what kind of services we offer, the types of pictures they want you to take, and then you will get to go into the parks and take some test shots. So this is a good chance for you to really get familiar with all the products and everything that we offer. Then you will go through your day 3 and 4, which is in your home park, and this is where you are going to learn about the different locations of taking pictures. You'll get like a little tour of all of the break rooms and stuff, and you'll learn what types of magic shots your park offers, and this is where you'll really start to get comfortable in your park and taking pictures of guests. From there on out, you are fully icon trained, so you can take pictures of icons in the park anytime before sunset. So you still need to go through night training and character training at this point. So after you have gone through day 1 through 4, you will be on your own in the icons at the park for about 2 weeks, and then from there you will start night training. So 2 weeks after your original start date, about-ish, you'll go into night training, which is pretty similar to icon training. You're gonna be shooting the same stuff, icons. You're just gonna learn about different settings and a little bit of a different photo flow, because they do teach you a photo flow for day and night. And your day photo flow you'll learn in day 1 and 2, and then your night photo flow you'll learn in night training. Then you will also, a day, either the next day or a couple days later from night training, you'll have view training. The view is where people come to pick up their pictures, or if they lost their pictures, they can get prints, they can buy a memory maker. So this is the photo store. The only thing that we do not do in the view is handle any transactions. There's always a merchandise cast member there to handle all of that. So this is where you'll learn basically about all of our services. Even though you've already kind of gone over that in day 1 and 2, this is where you'll really dive into it and you'll start helping out guests. So it's really exciting. This is probably the hardest part of training, not gonna lie, just because it's different than shooting and it can seem really overwhelming at first, but it's really not that scary. Once you actually realize that the view is not that hard, it just seems really different at first, and so I think it was a little overwhelming. And then lastly, about 2 weeks after you have night and view training, you will get character trained. And this is very exciting because now you can finally shoot characters, which is really, really fun, and in my experience, my favorite part of the job. So you will learn a new photo flow at this point for characters, and you will probably spend a whole 8-hour training day shooting with several different characters, and it's great. And at the end of this, you can take off your earning your ears badge, and it's very, very, very exciting. Especially because most of your friends at this point will be like way out of training, so you'll like feel great. So now I'm going to talk about what a normal day looks like as a Photopass photographer. I am a photographer in Hollywood Studios, and Hollywood Studios is one of the parks that does currently work on a rotation. However, they are getting rid of rotation. So some of the parks work on a rotation and some of them don't. So when you work on a rotation, you typically change spots about every hour or so. So you'll kind of go to a different spot. And if you don't work on a rotation, you'll stay in the same spot until you go to your break, and then you'll pick up a new assignment. So the way it works is each park has different deployments. So for example, for me, I work at Hollywood Studios, and Hollywood Boulevard is considered a deployment. So there are several icon spots along Hollywood Boulevard. There is a spot at the View, and then there is a spot with Donald Duck. So you will start at one spot and then you will move to another spot, and you'll just kind of move throughout the day. And then every once in a while you will get assigned tasking, which is when you go somewhere for like 15 minutes and just like take a few photos of people in front of like a special sign or just a spot that's like not typically running. And it's just kind of a way for you to like kill time. Also sometimes you'll like a tasking thing would be for you to go fill up water bottles for people if it's really hot. So that's kind of what a typical day looks like for you. Typically you'll have like 2 breaks. You get a break every like 2.5 to 3 hours. And if you need to step off for like a heat or water break before that, you're definitely able to do that if you need to do that for a couple minutes. And there's always support Photopass cast members walking around to make sure that you don't need any batteries, you don't need your water filled up or anything like that. So you're definitely very well taken care of, and they'll make sure that everything's okay. And if you have any issues while you're out there, you can always step off and call Photopass base and they can help you out. So lastly, I'm going to talk about some pros and cons of Photopass. I'm going to start with the cons because in my opinion, there's like a lot less cons than there are pros, and I don't really like want to end on the cons. Honestly, the biggest con for Photopass is that you are carrying around pretty heavy equipment. You are required to carry the camera, the PDA, and a rain gear pouch. So you are gonna, and you have your water bottle strapped to it. It definitely is a lot of weight on your hips, and the camera tends to like put a lot of pressure on your like mid or like lower back. So it is something to consider, especially at first. The movement from the camera is going to like cause a lot of pain in your wrist. I had to get a wrist guard for a while. So it's definitely something to get used to, and you are standing out in the heat all day. A lot of times my knees hurt and my legs hurt by the end of the day just because I've been standing in the sun for too long. So it is something that you should consider when applying to Photopass. It's not something that like is super strenuous, and I think that most average people can handle it. It's just if you're sensitive to working out in the sun for a long period of time or for standing for long periods of time, just keep in mind that it is a pretty like labor intensive job. You are standing a lot and you're carrying heavy equipment, so it's going to be exhausting. I'm exhausted at the end of my day. I love my job, it's super rewarding, but it's definitely exhausting. You also have to take a POET test when you get there. The POET test is different for every role that requires it, but for Photopass, they required you to walk a mile on the treadmill in under an hour. You cannot run because you're not allowed to run in the parks. And then you will pick a camera up from your hip, hold it up to your face, go like this, and then like this, and you will do that 50 times. And then you will pick up a box that weighs probably about like 10 or 15 pounds. You'll pick it up, and it's not a super hard test, but it just makes sure that your body is able to handle the strenuous effort that you will do every day. And then that's really the only like big con I can think of. For pros, it's honestly really exciting to go out there and capture those magical moments. You get to see a lot of Make-A-Wish kids and their wishes come true. You get to see a lot of kids meet characters for the first time. A lot of times I've witnessed people start crying, like when I'm in the View, if we find like a lost photo or we find a photo that they thought was like gone forever. It's really, really exciting when you have those moments. You also get to capture like baby announcements, proposals, all of that. And Photopass is pretty lucky when it comes to like guests getting mad at you. Guests don't tend to like yell at Photopass that much, so you're not gonna get like a ton of crazy guests. And it's just really fun. You get to work one-on-one with the character performers and with the character attendants, and it's just a really fun job. Entertainment as a whole at Disney is extremely fun, and you just get to experience a lot of things, and in my experience Photopass is very spoiled. So if you are considering Photopass, it is a very fun role and I really enjoy it. So I hope that this video gave you guys a lot of information. If there's anything that I left out, please feel free to let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and stay tuned next week for a new video.